Yo, hello, and how is it going, my fellow DeFi DEGEN friends? I hope you're all doing well, staying safe, making the best investments you possibly can. So in today's video, I do want to talk about Polaris. There has been tons of stuff that has gone on with Polaris over this last week. They have got a new peg token that is launching, some future updates that are insanely bullish for Polaris in general. There has been some depegging, a bit of like sell-offs this week, so we'll cover that too. There will be timestamps in the description and in the playback bar, just so you can skip ahead to whatever you want to see. But without further ado, let's just jump into it. Okay, so Polaris are launching the 6th peg token, which is going to be pegged to BNB. They have made the announcements. The Genesis will happen tomorrow on the 23rd of July, starting at 2 o'clock UTC. And you know, all the information is available through the Discord, as it always is. And as far as I know, BNB wasn't bridgeable to Aurora through Allbridge, but Polaris have been the project and the team to put that in place so that it is bridgeable in time for this Genesis, in time for the BNB token launch. And of course, Polaris's whole ethos with their peg tokens isn't just about, I don't know, making LPs like some of these other, you know, crappy toon forks. Isn't just about Ponzinomics and all of that. Polaris are looking to do smart routing, create a better user experience for users that want to trade in BNB and other tokens such as BTC, Eternal, and that's exactly what they're working towards, and they have done such a good job of it so far. We will get more into that in the next segment. But you know, all the peg tokens that they have released have had great value, and they have a more meaning to, you know, why they are placed onto the Polaris project, more than just, you know, just a quick token to make some quick cash. It has had more of an underlying, you know, factors, and you know, more importance than just any old peg. They have been strategic, and you know, they do have their own function to create smart routing and deeper liquidity on the Aurora ecosystem. So if you head to Solaris and you try to buy $10 of BNB, you can see the price impact is 9.8%. There is just zero liquidity for BNB on the Aurora ecosystem, and as Aurora is another EVM compatible chain, similar to, you know, Phantom, Polygon, AVAX, all of them, it's important that there is enough liquidity for these tokens to move, you know, freely across chains, and that is what Polaris are doing with their BNB token release. So as I said, the Binaries, which is the BNB peg token, is launching the Genesis pools tomorrow, 23rd of July. You can use all sorts of different tokens. As you know, we've been through this tons of times now. You will understand how the Genesis works. You can stake your existing tokens to earn BNB peg tokens. So if you are interested in Genesis pools and you do want to start accumulating some BNB, BNB is like the 5th most popular token in the crypto space. Did have an all-time high around 3 times higher than what it is now. So of course, you know, it is a good strategy to start accumulating tokens in LPs. If you're making LPs with any of these tokens, there is risk, of course. You should understand that. You should always do your own research on it. But if you are doing LPs, you don't have to worry about all the nuances of, you know, pegs and bouldering printing. You can just throw your LPs into an auto compounder, start building your stack, and then, you know, just wait it out, wait for the market to recover. If you do believe it's going to recover, then it's just the best play that you can do and make LPs. That is what I have done with multiple peg tokens in Polaris, and so far I have not been disappointed. So definitely go and check out the Discord if you want some more information on the Binaries launch. Then everything that you need will be in there. Okay, so something that is important to touch on that I do want to cover is, you know, recently earlier this week, Polaris did see quite a significant sell-off of the shares token, along with, you know, people breaking LPs, selling their peg tokens, and causing, you know, a bit of a depeg, a bit of a disruption across the space. And I have been covering Polaris and how bullish I have been, how bullish the project moves. So it's only right that I do cover, you know, some of the turbulence and explain, you know, kind of my thoughts on it and why I think it's not too significant and Polaris will bounce back. So just taking a quick look at the charts, this is S-Polar. As you can see, earlier in the week, it's been sitting around this 200 mark, between 200 and 300 for some time. It did this for a couple of months, really. And then earlier this week, it did see, you know, a pretty huge drop off all the way down to around $45, which is pretty significant. It has seen a bounce back now up to 85, and just for some perspective, Polaris in its infancy dropped all the way down the shares token to about $16 here, and this is where I actually got into Polaris, and I bought the shares token here at 16, and then I rolled it out and started selling some of my shares tokens periodically all the way up to 1,000, and it is now at 85. I do believe it will have a strong bounce back over the next couple of weeks, and it will get back up at least this 200 mark. Of course, this is not financial advice, and you should always manage your own risk, but for me, I'm definitely buying more S-Polars now, like I did back in early March when I bought it at 16 and it went all the way up to 1,000. Of course, it depends on your risk appetite and how you feel about the current market, because there is a lot of macro events going on right now that you do have to factor into your analysis and how you want to approach it. But for me, I'm definitely thinking that there's been so much turbulence, a lot of FUD going around in Polaris, if you don't want to say that, and I think it has found a bit of a bottom now. I don't think it's going to go any lower than this, but that's just my own personal opinion. Looking at some of the peg tokens, once there was a sell-off in the shares tokens, that is like the factor that gives people confidence in the project. If the shares tokens do start to take a bit of a big hit, then the people start to break their LPs, they start to lose confidence in the project, whether it's warranted or not. And then they break their LPs, sell their peg tokens, and it starts to cause a bit of a disruption, a bit of a depeg, and that is what happened with pretty much all of Polaris's tokens. It looks like the USP, which is the dollar peg token, actually dropped all the way down to 64, and it's now back at $1 within a day after that disruption. A couple of days later it got back to $1, so that would have been like a 36% increase just in a couple of days if you bought down here. Orbital, which is the BTC peg token, was sitting well at the one peg mark, which it was supposed to be. It was sitting at this since it launched during the 3rd of June, had this sell-off, and now it's it's working its way back up, and it's actually back at almost back at the 1 mark now. Infernal's not bounced back as hard yet, but Bitcoin has been taking some dominance in this general market rebound, so it makes sense that Bitcoin peg token is bouncing back a bit better. However, Infernal peg token is still at 0.9. Now the Polar peg token, which is pegged to near, this thing has been sitting around its peg mark since pretty much from the start, since the 10th of March. That's 4 months of constant stabilization. If you made LPs for all this time, I know the markets had been down a little bit, but this has been solid. You could have had your shares tokens in this boardroom all throughout this time, and you would have been sprinting. No other project really that I've seen has done anything like this for this amount of time. This huge sell-off that happened has caused it to depeg. It's currently sitting at 0.65, but you have to consider, if you are bullish on any of these tokens and they are sitting under peg right now, then you do believe in Polaris has managed to sustain their project and their pegs over the last 4 or 5 months, even in this terrible market that we have been dealing with. Then you can look at maybe getting an opportunity of buying near at 0.65 and waiting for it to repeg, making some LPs, doing whatever you think is best, and that's definitely what I'm doing. Sometimes people do get a bit deterred, a little bit scared of people losing faith in the project. There is a bit of a sell-off, people selling the peg tokens, the shares is coming down. But this is normal in projects. Sometimes whales do manipulate these projects, causing a cascading sell-off, but it's just the way of crypto. It's just the way of the game. You either have the thick skin in the game, or you just panic sell and you're just going to be sitting in a loss, and that's just going to be your crypto journey. So for me, I don't think it's much of a significant sell-off. I do think Polaris is going to bounce back, and in this next segment I will share some of the updates that they do have coming. That it's going to set them up for the future. So Polaris announced last week that they do have an official partnership with Allbridge, which is a pretty huge partnership. It's the most secure, fast and audited bridge across the whole crypto market. And it's pretty huge that Polaris was able to do a direct partnership with these guys. This is how Allbridge listed BNB, which is now bridgeable to Aurora, all thanks to Polaris and their partnership. And this is pretty huge. It links in with Polaris's ethos of creating smart routing, deep liquidity across the Aurora ecosystem through Polaris. If they are able to list more tokens that don't have that much liquidity on Aurora, and then Allbridge can help them to, you know, get those tokens bridged over to help with the whole, you know, it brings it all together. You know, it's definitely a huge partnership for Polaris. As I said, Polaris are launching BNB peg token tomorrow. That's another key development. And also, after the BNB peg token release, Polaris team have decided to delay releasing any more peg tokens for now, as they are working primarily on building their own decks. They do have a peg token to Trisolaris, but I've just seen so much bad sentiment about, you know, how the Trisolaris project is run. The team there, you know, they have left Polaris in the, you know, bad situations a couple of times without any warning. So this has, you know, pushed the team to build their own decks, which is just, you know, why not? If another project you're relying on is, you know, it's not helping, it's being, you know, unreliable, then make your own. And I think Polaris, they are doing it based on the balancer decks, and I think it is going to be pretty huge when they do finally release it. It is going to create more revenue generating fees for the project, more revenue generating for the investors, and just tons more utility for the Polaris project. It is pushing so much further than just a Tomb project, a Tomb fork. I've said this multiple times, with their smart routing and everything they're doing to, you know, help enhance the overall fundamentals and, you know, the structure of the Aurora ecosystem. There's no other project doing it like that, and I do believe their decks will be a huge development and a huge utility and push forward for the Polaris team. All of this information is available in the Discord, on the Twitter. There is a couple of links. Ripper did a huge Twitter thread explaining the recent, you know, events with the sell-offs. There's tons of announcements. The team have constantly kept up with, you know, reassuring investors, making sure everyone understands, you know, what the best options are right now, how to get back to peg better, how they can, you know, maximize the efficiency to move forward as a project. So definitely go and check out all that in the Discord. You know, if you've got any more questions about anything that's in this video or anything like that, there's tons of people in the Discord that you can reach out to, and they will, you know, help you find the right answers. So let me know what you think about Polaris, if you're excited about the BNB launch, what your thoughts are about, you know, the recent depegging and the whales selling off. Follow me on Twitter at DeFi Degens. Come and join the DeFi Degens Discord. I'm thinking about setting up a DeFi Degens Telegram channel just for, you know, that kind of them degens that don't really use Discord. So let me know if you'd be interested in that. And whatever you do, stay safe out there, make good investments, and have a great day.